Well, hello, friends and neighbors. John, your neighbor here, and welcome down the Nook. I will admit, this is a bit of a treat to me. I've just kicked off holidays, and I'm a Booker's fan, and I just opened up the only batch of Bookers we get up here in Canada. This is Charlie's batch. It's 2023-01. I'll give you more details when you come on back, but if you've got a little bit of Bookers or any, barrel-proof bourbon, why don't you pour a dram and come on back. We'll share some thoughts specifically on this Booker's, and then I'll compare with the one I still have open. This is Donahoe 2021. So pour a little bit. Come on back. 3, 4. Thanks for coming back. As I was saying in the opener, I just cracked this open, just peeled the wax off, poured this out. Haven't tasted it yet, so it's really a tasting. But this will be some thoughts on Booker's 2023-01. Now, what's interesting in Canada is that we really only get one of the 4 batches that the US gets. So I always feel a little bit ripped off because I like Booker's and I wish I could try at least a couple other batches during a year. Sadly, I only get one a year. Now, to counter that, the pricing hasn't really hit here that it's in the States. I think MSRP in the States is like $90 US, and I can still get this for, $80 to $85, depending on where you get it. I waited and got this under 80 Canadian on sale, so maybe I'll take that. Anyways, Booker's bourbon, from Jim Beam, certainly well known, especially for these wooden boxes, which is partly why this one's unique. This is named after Charlie, the person who designed these pretty incredible, very cool and distinct looking wooden boxes. I know my wife uses them for crafts, and I just think they're pretty cool way to box up a nice bourbon. This particular release, Charlie's batch here, is over 7 years. I'll put the details down below. And quite a bit of warehouse Z up here in Canada, which is interesting because this Donahoe 2021 is 50% fifth floor warehouse Z, and this is 50% warehouse Z roughly, but between 4th and 5th floor. And then it's got almost 25%, somewhere in there around warehouse 1, and then a few other mixes. So I'll put all those details down below. Whiskey nerds like that. I am one of those people. 63.3%. Let's just nose and taste this and see if my palate likes it. It's always personal taste. We'll see where we get on this Booker's Charlie's batch. Well, I'm getting quite a bit of spicing, quite a bit of brown sugar, older or darker caramels. Maybe a little cooked apple in there. So a little cooked apple, brown sugar, dark cinnamon. Yep, on the nose, darker, spicier, thicker caramel. Just give it a taste. Cheers. Just took a small amount, 63%. I can't take a whole mouthful of that, but it is sweet. It is definitely cooked brown sugar. It's lots of caramel, toffee. Yeah, and cinnamon, but not bright, not cinnamon red heart, cinnamon bun, that breaded cooked. I've said that before about bourbons. A little bit of nut in there, which, it's Jim Beam. There's going to be some nut kicking around, but it's not right up front. Not like, for me, Granny's batch was the one that was like buttered peanut brittle. I'm not getting that here. It's more darker spicing. The fruit, if it's there, is moved off of cooked apple and into a dark cherry. Let's try another sip. Would say on the second sip, I can get a few more nut notes, but it's not that bright peanut, like peanut brittle. It's something else. It's a little more walnut or something savior than that. Walnuts can be a bit bitter, and I'm not getting bitterness here. So, but something kind of nutty and husky. It's still spicy, but also very sweet. Lots of brown sugars, lots of light sugars like light brown, dark brown sugar, cooked molasses, um, all of those good things. Actually, it's funny. I just suddenly remembered oatmeal. It's not. I'm not getting the oats like an oatmeal, but I often, if I'm doing oatmeal, I'll put brown sugar and I'll put, almonds and walnuts on it, and it'll have a bit of that flavoring, and I'm getting some of that in here. That sweet brown sugar, but in a thicker, cooked down state. First thoughts, and it's just first thoughts. I just opened it. Is this is a good one. This is like probably a better Booker's than I've had in a while. So I'm looking forward to unpacking it a bit more. I'll give some comparison thoughts now to Donahue, and maybe that'll help me better understand this Charlie's batch. As I mentioned, I wanted to compare this to a Booker's that I already have on the shelf, and this one's 2021-01, so it's Donahue's batch, and I think it's a little younger. I think it was 6 years, 11 months, something like that, whereas this one was 7 years and a month, so slightly older. I did make mention, and I'll put all the details down below, but that it also has mostly warehouse Z or Z if you're Canadian like me, but it was all like 50% almost from the fifth floor, where this had kind of a mix of fourth and fifth. Percent wise, shoot, pretty close. Oh, 62.6, whereas this one was 63 point something, I thought. Yeah, 63.3. So this is a little stronger. And this has been open longer. That could have an effect too. But just in comparison, a couple of years apart, what does this batch give me compared to the newer one for me, Charlie's batch? This one has less of the spicing and the sweetness. Oh yeah, this one is just in comparison really sweet. Almost a little Canadian maple syrup kicking around in there. This has still some nice nuts, some nice caramel. It's just not as sweet forward. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. And I'm glad I got that, because I've said it before about this one. All of the same sugar, caramel, toffee sweetness. It is spicier though. A little more cracked pepper, a little more hot cinnamons versus this one. Even though it's slightly less proof, it's drinking much hotter. But it's got a bit of chocolate in it that I wasn't getting here. It's drier. It's on the edge of bitter. It's spicier. This one is starting really well. Just a sit-down comparison, immediate pour, but the additional sweetness and the way that comes across in the notes and the palate is making this Booker's a better batch. This is hot and spicy and peppery, and I like all those things, but it's amazing to have same kind of percent, even a little bit higher, and this is drinking a little easier. The sweetness and oaking and not as more balanced. And I'm getting maybe a little more fruit on this. And well, this one I was getting some dried figs on. I remember that, and now that I've said it out loud, I'm getting a little bit of a dried candied fruit. But this one's giving me a little bit of dark cherry, which I don't always get in Booker's. So this is a great start. I love Booker's. This 4.25 for sure. 4.5. I'm gonna say I gotta come back to this one, so I can't give it a rating, but it has started really, really well, and I bet it's gonna hold up throughout the summer, as I tend to go into bourbons over summer. Thanks for joining me. As I said in the opener, this was intended to be a happy 4th of July. I wanted to open it up on the 4th and wish all my good friends a fantastic Independence Day, but sadly I was busy and I had to keep working, and so I couldn't get to it till the weekend here. And it is a lovely treat, and I hope all of friends that drop in from the U.S. had a fantastic 4th, a good holiday, or even just a little bit of time off work, and that you were cracking good bourbon then. And why not do a repeat on this weekend and join with me and pour something big and bold. This is a monster starting out really, really well. Thanks for joining me. Take care.